The Shawshank Redemption 1994, full movie story. Directed by Frank Darabont. Based on Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption by Stephen King. Main cast. Tim Robbins as Andy Dufresne. Morgan Freeman as Ellis Red Redding. Bob Gunton as Warden Norton. William Sadler as Haywood. Clancy Brown as Captain Hadley. Introduction, A Banker's Fall. The movie begins in 1947 with Andy Dufresne, a successful banker, being convicted of murdering his wife and her lover. Despite Andy's claims of innocence, the court finds him guilty and sentences him to 2 consecutive life terms at Shawshank State Prison in Maine. From the very beginning, Andy is portrayed as a reserved and intelligent man, but prison life is brutal. He experiences violence, threats, and the harsh realities of incarceration. Unlike many new inmates who break under pressure, Andy remains calm and composed, making him stand out. Meeting Red, a lifelong friendship begins. Inside Shawshank, Andy meets Ellis Red Redding, a long-time inmate known for getting things. Red has been in prison for decades and is the go-to person for smuggling contraband. The two men are very different. Red is cynical yet wise, while Andy is quiet but determined. Andy approaches Red and requests a small rock hammer to pursue his hobby of shaping stones. Red is intrigued by Andy's unusual personality and arranges for him to get the hammer. This marks the beginning of a deep and lifelong friendship between the two men. Surviving Shawshank, Andy's struggles and strength. Prison life is tough. Andy becomes a target for a violent group called the Sisters, who frequently attack and assault him. He endures the abuse silently but never loses hope. One day Andy overhears Captain Hadley, a cruel prison guard, complaining about a large inheritance and the taxes he must pay on it. Using his banking expertise, Andy advises Hadley on how to legally shelter the money from taxes. Impressed, Hadley starts protecting Andy from further abuse. This moment changes Andy's fate in Shawshank. He soon becomes useful to the prison staff, helping the guards and Warden Samuel Norton with financial matters, including laundering dirty money, building a new life in prison. Andy uses his growing influence to improve life for his fellow inmates. He successfully convinces the warden to expand the prison library, securing funds and books by persistently writing letters to the government. Over time, Shawshank's library becomes one of the finest in the prison system. Andy also helps inmates get their high school diplomas by teaching them in the prison library. His efforts bring hope to many prisoners who had given up on life. However, while Andy gains privileges, he never loses sight of his ultimate goal: freedom. The corrupt system and Tommy's arrival. Warden Norton, a deeply corrupt and hypocritical man, uses Andy to launder money through fake accounts. The warden hides the illegal funds under the alias Randall Stevens, a fictional person Andy secretly controls. Years later, a young inmate named Tommy Williams arrives at Shawshank. Tommy is a small-time thief but has a big personality. He befriends Andy and Red. One day Tommy reveals that he once met a man who bragged about committing the murders for which Andy was convicted. Realizing that Tommy's story could prove his innocence, Andy approaches the warden and asks for a retrial. However, Warden Norton refuses, fearing he will lose Andy's financial skills. To ensure Tommy does not testify, the warden orders Captain Hadley to kill Tommy, making it look like an escape attempt. This moment shatters Andy's hope, but he remains silent and obedient. However, he secretly begins preparing for his escape. Andy's great escape, a masterstroke. One night Andy tells Red that if he ever gets out, he should visit a specific oak tree in a field near Buxton. Red senses something strange in Andy's words. The next day Andy is missing from his cell. The guards are shocked and Warden Norton orders a full search. They discover that Andy had tunneled through the prison walls for nearly 19 years using only the small rock hammer Red gave him. Andy's escape is a brilliant and meticulously planned operation. He patiently chipped away at the wall every night and hid the hole behind a poster of Rita Hayworth, later replaced by Marilyn Monroe and then Raquel Welch. He waited for a thunderstorm to cover the noise of his final escape. He crawled through a 500-yard-long sewage tunnel, emerging free on the other side. He had already prepared a fake identity, Randall Stevens, to withdraw the warden's illegal money and expose his corruption. The next morning, Andy dresses as Randall Stevens, goes to the bank and withdraws the warden's laundered money. He also mails evidence of corruption to the press, leading to a major scandal. The fall of Shawshank's corruption. The police arrive at Shawshank to arrest Warden Norton and Captain Hadley. Hadley is arrested, but before the police can take Norton, he commits suicide in his office. With the corrupt officials gone, Shawshank is left in chaos. But Andy is finally free. Red's parole and reunion. Red, who had always been pessimistic about parole, finally gets released after serving 40 years. However, adjusting to the outside world is difficult. He remembers Andy's words about the oak tree in Buxton and decides to visit it. At the tree, Red finds a hidden box with money and a letter from Andy inviting him to Zihuatanejo, Mexico, where Andy has started a new life. For the first time, Red dares to hope. He violates his parole by leaving for Mexico, hoping to reunite with his friend. The final scene shows Red walking along the beach toward Andy, symbolizing freedom, hope, and redemption. Themes and message. The Shawshank Redemption is more than just a prison escape story. It is a powerful tale of hope, friendship, and perseverance. It teaches that no matter how bad life gets, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. The movie remains one of the greatest films of all time, inspiring audiences with its timeless message of resilience and the triumph of the human spirit.